Should you buy or skip the iPad Pro 2024? Let me tell you why. This tablet is a big deal. The iPad Pro is the very first Apple device of any kind to feature the company's M4 chip. This is the most powerful tablet Apple has ever made. It's also the first iPad to have an OLED screen, which is a feature that a lot of people have been asking for. But that performance comes at a price. 13-inch iPad Pro costs $1299, which is $200 more than the previous model. So the question is, should you get the iPad Pro or get a MacBook instead? The first reason you should buy the iPad Pro is for its thin design. The new iPad Pro is 5.1 millimeters thin, which is the thinnest device that Apple has ever released, even thinner than an iPad Nano. The iPad Pro is also super light at 1.28 pounds. It's actually lighter than the iPad Air 13-inch, which is 1.3 pounds. I know that doesn't sound like a big difference, but trust me, when you hold it, you will notice it. Even if you tack on the Apple Magic Keyboard, it actually doesn't weigh that much more, which is really cool if you're taking this around. For me personally, I'd rather travel with this than a MacBook Air. The second reason to get the iPad Pro is for the gorgeous OLED display. So Apple claims that the display can output 1,000 nits of brightness. In our testing, it got a little bit above that, which is really, really nice. And in certain parts of the screen, it could get up to 1,600 nits of brightness, which is something we also confirmed. Apple officially calls this an Ultra Retina XDR display. You could also upgrade to a Nano-texture glass, which makes it anti-glare, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. The next reason to get the iPad Pro is for the M4 performance. We've run the iPad Pro M4 through Geekbench, and it is about twice as fast than the iPad Pro M2, which is already a really fast tablet. This is insane performance. So what does that performance mean for everyday use? It means that you could run games like Resident Evil 4 and Genshin Impact at really, really good quality. Not only do they run well, but they look really nice as well. I can't give you exact frame counts because they don't have a FPS counter here, but to my eyes, Genshin Impact runs pretty close to 60 FPS. Resident Evil doesn't, but it still runs very, very smoothly. And for other uses, it can handle things like web browsing and video watching without a hitch. And the final reason you should buy the iPad Pro is for its insane battery life. We tested this and we got it to run for 13 hours and 13 minutes, which is a lot more than all day use. If you need a machine that's dependable, that's gonna last you way more than a day, this is it. For comparison's sake, the iPad Pro with the M2 chip lasted 10 hours and 39 minutes, which is still really good, but this gives you 3 more hours, which is awesome. Because of the battery life, you could theoretically use this tablet all day for work, then you come home and unwind for a couple more hours watching some YouTube videos. Those are the biggest pros, but be sure to check out my full review over at tomsguide.com. The iPad Pro has a lot going for it. However, there are reasons to skip it, and they're both related. Price. The first reason to skip is that if you want to upgrade to Nano-texture glass, you're gonna have to pay an obscene price. 13-inch iPad Pro starts at $1299. If you want to upgrade to Nano-texture glass, you need to get the configuration with 1 terabyte of storage, which bumps the price up to $1999. At that price, you may as well get a MacBook Pro. The other reason to skip the iPad Pro is because of the Magic Keyboard, which is also pretty expensive. If you want to use the iPad Pro as a laptop replacement, you'll need the Magic Keyboard. And this is actually a redesign of the previous model, and it's a lot better. The keys are more responsive. It has this really nice aluminum finish on the palm rest and the touchpad, which makes it feel more like a MacBook. This peripheral has also been redesigned to be lighter and thinner than the previous model, which makes it really easy to carry around when you're traveling with the iPad. Unfortunately, like the previous model, this Magic Keyboard costs $350. That's on top of the $1299 you're paying for the iPad Pro. This has been a problem with the Magic Keyboard for a while, and it still stings. Even though it's expensive, especially with the add-ons, I would absolutely buy the iPad Pro. As things stand, this is the most impressive tablet that Apple has ever released. No hyperbole, this is the most gorgeous OLED display I've ever seen, and the thin design is unbelievable. And obviously you get M4 power and insane battery life. There is so much to like about this tablet. But if you're on a budget and you don't need the power of the M4, I suggest the iPad Air 13-inch. Even though it has an M2 chip, it may not have the same OLED display, but it is super portable and it gives you almost all the features that this one does. Even with all this power, iPad OS still isn't as robust as Mac OS, so that's something you have to go past, but the M4 chip in this device should future-proof it. Again, expensive, but I would absolutely buy this. Well, what do you think of the iPad Pro? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to head over to tomsguide.com to read my full review. You can also follow us on social at tomsguide. Once again, I was Tony Polanco, and I'll see you around. Later.